Hey everybody, how y'all doing out there? All right, so in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the syllabus for the class, set up the class, the Blackboard Collaborate, and all of that stuff. All right, so here's our home page. The welcome start here. Here's my little video where I say hello. Hopefully you've all checked that out. And under here is the syllabus and syllabus video. So let's open the syllabus for the class. All right, here it is. Here it is. Okay, I'm actually going to download it and open it up on the big screen. All right, let me make that a little bit bigger. Okay, here we go. This is English 1200 Introduction to Literature. And what I always do is I thematize the class and give it some lenses to read and think about our text. And this class, I'm going to center around the ideas of the notions of class, work, and the quote unquote American dream. So that's what we're going to be looking at. There's my name, Charles Kell. You can just call me Charles. You don't need to call me doctor, professor, or anything. There's my email, office number. If you ever want to meet, let me know. If you ever want to set up a Zoom meeting and talk about things online, send me an email and let me know. Here are a couple of quotes from some of the stories we're going to be reading. Here is the class. This class is distance learning, remote asynchronous, which means we will not be meeting. I'll be posting videos that walk the class through the lessons and assignments. It is your responsibility to watch and take notes on these videos. Even though we are not meeting, the course syllabus will structure the class based on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This will help you guide where you should be and when you should be completing the readings and assignments. So my goal is, with setting up a class like this is so it mirrors and mimics an actual class. Everything will be located on our Blackboard site. All of our readings, all of the assignments, everything's on our Blackboard. Because this class is remote asynchronous, it is your job to keep up with readings, work, and basically what's going on in the class. You need to be proficient and comfortable navigating Blackboard. If at any time during the semester you feel lost or if you want to work on and cover additional topics, it is your job to let me know. The entire class will be structured and like this. If so, here's the class. I'm going to go over the syllabus and go over Blackboard. So clicking out of here, here's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. That's the whole class. And I'll show you all the readings on there in a minute. And here's the course description. This course examines a variety of literary genres, fiction, poetry, and drama, as expressions of the human desire to communicate philosophy, experience, and attitudes. Examples found in diverse literary cultures from ancient times to the present are the basis for reading, analyzing, and evaluating these forms of verbal expression. So that's CCRI's description of the course. Here's my description. The themes of this course swirl around the various ideas of class, work, and the American dream. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, one definition of class is, quote, a set in society based on social or economic status, a system that divides members of a society based on social or economic status. We'll be looking at various notions of class throughout. One definition of work is, quote, an activity involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a result, end quote. The American dream is, quote, the ideal of equality of opportunity associated with the United States. All of these terms have multiple definitions that we will be exploring, arguing with, and complicating throughout the semester. All the stories, poems, and plays we read will examine these themes in many different ways as well. You know, think about the idea of the American dream. And one of our first discussion boards asks you to talk about that, define it for yourself. I mean, do you believe it to be true? Do you believe it to be false? Do you believe it to be somewhere in the middle? Where does this come from? Has your thoughts on it changed over time? So that's what we'll be looking at. Learning outcomes. At the end of this course, you should be able to, and if we don't meet these, I will have failed you miserably. Display a working knowledge of the genres of fiction, poetry, and drama by writers from various cultures and historical areas. Now, one caveat, my area of study is mostly contemporary literature, so we'll be reading literature that is mostly contemporary. We're not going to be reading a lot of old stuff. Identify and describe distinct characteristics of literary texts. Analyze literary works for their structure and meaning. Write analytically about literature using MLA guidelines. Effectively communicate ideas related to literary works during class, which is our online. I will provide all the readings through Blackboard, and I'll show you that in a minute. My policies, don't use the robot to write your paper. Please, please, please don't use the robot to write your paper. If you're struggling on writing your paper, please reach out to me. So that's my spiel on that, right? Okay. Here's what you're concerned about, the grading policy. I always base my courses off 1,000 points, so if you end up with 940, you got a 94%, right? We have 5 discussion boards. Those are worth 100 points each. That's half the points in the class. So those are really important. 5 discussion boards. And here you have a handout and video that walks through the discussion boards. So please watch that. That's a separate video that walks through all the discussion board stuff there. And those relate to our readings. And you have 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. So 5 discussion boards and 2 papers, and that's it. And I threw in a little 50 points here, so if you turn your work in on time, you get this free 50 points. That's it. 5 discussion boards and 2 papers, that's the class. The grades will be available on your papers with detailed comments through Microsoft Word. Track changes on Blackboard and post in the grade book in Blackboard. My goal for you is to get an A in this class. So if you complete the paper and you don't get the grade you like, you can revise and turn it in. So there's that. If you need academic accommodations, contact the DSS. You're responsible for the readings and turning your assignments on time, all that jazz. All right, here's the course schedule. So week 1, we're starting Tuesday. So you see introduction, syllabus, coal, oil, and steel. The first discussion board's due on Blackboard. We'll be reading Maley Chase, Saving Sortie, paper 1 handout. That's week 1. Week 2, Baldwin Sonny's Blues, discussion board 2, due. Week 3, and you see, here's the course. It's a regular syllabus. And how the course is set up here is structured right here. So you have, here's a few notes on reading poetry. Here's week 1. So you'll click on this. There's week 1, right? And you click on this arrow. There's a video on the poem, reading imaginative literature. Here's the Saving Sortie story. Here's a video of me reading the story and talking about it in detail. Here's the story. So you click on that, right? There's the story. So this is how it's set up for the whole class. Everything's available online. You just got to click on the date, and there's a discussion board, right? First discussion board. That video up here walks you through everything about how to do that. So please watch the discussion board video and follow those guidelines. And that's our class. There's the paper 1. You click on paper 1. Here's a video and the handout, right? The video walks through the paper. There it is, right? Everything there. So everything is on Blackboard. The whole class is already set up and ready to go. Here's some sample papers. If you have any questions, any comments, anything at all, please reach out to me. I think it's pretty easy to navigate. You know, my goal for these online classes, I really hate busy work, because if I give you busy work, that means that's more work for me to do. Again, you know, the syllabus, it's 5 discussion boards, 2 papers, complete the readings, turn in the stuff. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, concerns, comments, if you're stuck, please reach out to me. All right, everybody, good luck with the class.